What's going on, everyone? This is Gordon Sign here with Pigskin Banter. Right now, I am all alone. I might be joined by my host later. I'm not sure. As of right now, nobody else is around. So I'm going to carry this show by myself today, it looks like, because nobody else is here. And I don't want to miss 2 Thursdays in a row. So, this week we got some interesting games. And the nice thing about this week, actually, is we had a pretty much group consensus about most of the games. And for the games that we didn't, I can kind of figure out the reasoning why we didn't. So I can take us through that. And the QB rankings, that's not crazy. So first game is our Thursday night game, and we have the Bengals against the Ravens. And now everybody except myself picked the Ravens. I totally understand why. It's a division game. Usually division split home and home makes sense. I totally see it. Ravens looking for a bounce back, but then you could also argue the Bengals are looking for a bounce back this week. So again, totally get why people would pick the Ravens, and all my co-hosts did, except for myself. I was the only one to pick the Bengals. I just think Joe Burrow and the Bengals have more to lose if they lose this game than the Ravens do. While the Ravens could technically lose the division if they lose this one, like they could lose the lead in the division. The Bengals are fighting for a playoff spot right now, and the Ravens, even if they lose this game, probably still have a playoff spot. So I think this game matters more to the Bengals. That's the only reason I picked them. I do think it's going to be close. I think it could go either way. And yeah, it should be a fun game this week. Pretty much every single primetime game should be fun this week. So I'm excited. Next game here, we have Browns and Steelers. And once again, everybody picked the Steelers except myself, and I picked the Browns. And pretty much same thing for these division games within this division. It's these teams are so close to each other. They usually split, so it makes sense. I totally understand why that my co-host would pick the Steelers, and feels like I can never get the Steelers right this season. Like if I think the Steelers are going to win, they lose. If I think they're going to lose, they win. So I don't really know. I'm going with the Browns, although I think the Browns are going to struggle with DTR or whatever his name is. Actually, I didn't even put him on our QB tier list. So let me get a picture of him while I'm saying it. But yeah, DTR Browns headshot. NFL.com. And we will rank him now. He was not good in his first game, but we will get to that. Okay. Save that off as I think that's our 46 now. Jesus Christ, so many quarterbacks this season. But yeah, I don't know. DTR did not look good, obviously, in his first game, for the Browns. He kind of got lit up. He looked really shaky. But then again, he didn't have the full week's practice. This time he will have a full week's practice. And the Steelers have been outgained in every single game they've played, or outgained in every single game they've played. So even like that alone should give Browns fans some confidence that DTR could have a good game this game. Again, totally see the Steelers winning this game. I could totally see that happening. I just think it's possible that the Browns somehow find a way to win this, because both these teams have kind of done that where they've lucked into wins this season. So that's just kind of where my head's at. I think the Browns have a slightly better, maybe not. Maybe they don't have better defense than the Steelers, but it is being played in Cleveland. I don't know. I'm kind of split on this one. Steelers should win this. They should, but usually when the Steelers should win a game, it means they're going to play down to competition. PB 2-3. All right, Shreyas is going to join us here in a second. So we're going to wait for Shreyas before we continue, and I will get his thoughts on these first two games. I can tell you right now, he's going to hype up the Ravens, so be ready. Let me wait for Shreyas. While I do that, I will update our QB tier list to have DTR. Alrighty. While we wait for Shreyas, what is our next game? Lions Bears. Okay, he won't care if I talk about this one. So, Bears at Lions. Bears have been bad, obviously. Not having Justin Fields has hurt them. Bajent has been okay at best. So yeah, they're going to play against it is a rival. It is a division rival game. However, the Lions and Bears are playing at completely different levels right now. It's not even close between the two of them. The Lions have been such a good team. The Bears have not. And if the Lions lose this game, it is a complete and utter embarrassment on their season. All right, we are joined by Shreyas. Hello, Shreyas. Shreyas, can you hear me? Oh boy. Shreyas. Shreyas, can you hear me? Shreyas. Shreyas? Shreyas. Oh, there he goes. Let's try and get him back in here. Lions. Oh, as I was saying with the Lions, if they lose this game, it is a complete embarrassment. They should not be losing to the Bears at this point in this season. They also, I believe, could be tied with the Eagles for record at least in the NFC, both being 8-2 if the Eagles were to lose to the Chiefs this week. So that's huge for them. And I'd be amazed if somehow they lost. What else? I don't know. Shreyas is dead. So that's pretty much it for Lions Bears. Chargers Packers. Oh, hello, Shreyas.
Hello.
Perfect. There we go. Okay.
So was I on recording?
Yeah, you were on, but I couldn't hear you or anything. So.
Oh, that's weird.
All right. So I just kind of touched on our first three games. I'm assuming there's not much you have to add for the Lions game or even the Steelers game, but I will let you go off about your Ravens. So go for it.
I mean, I'm live. I'm live, right?
Yeah.
So the game's in what, almost 3 hours. So, I mean, division rival game. I mean, anything can happen. We saw it last week. I mean, Cleveland kind of came in and shocked the Ravens, and anything can happen. Division games are tough, and it's going to be tough, but I'm predicting we'll win. I think I put that on my pick for this week. So, go Ravens.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I picked the Bengals this week only because I was saying this earlier. Only because I think this game is more important for them overall for the season. But I totally get why the Ravens would win this week in Baltimore. I mean, they're playing at home in that division, usually split 1-1. So.
Well, the Ravens won the first matchup also, I think.
Oh, so then who knows?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I know when we beat Cleveland at the beginning, Deshaun Watson wasn't playing. But then again, when you actually watch that game last week, Deshaun Watson, most of his throws were just checkdowns and curl routes. So didn't do anything flashy. I mean, he limited the mistakes. Obviously, I think the first play of the game, the second play of the game, he threw a pick six to Kyle Hamilton.
Right.
So, like I said, as long as the Ravens can find a limit in those check down routes, I believe they might have a chance because I am confident that the secondary can hold its own, even without Marlon Humphrey.
Fair enough. All right. Chargers Packers is our next game on the docket here. And everybody picked the Chargers. And I understand why, because the Packers have been bad this season. Jordan Love does not look like the guy, and everything in Green Bay has been a mess. So I totally get it. That being said, the Chargers have a way to lose games that they should never lose because of that defense. And if the Packers offense can look like how they did in week 1 against the Bears, against that Chargers defense, we could have ourselves a game.
I mean, I do. I think I did pick the Chargers to win, but as you said, the Chargers just have this way of blowing games like this. I mean, this goes before Brandon Staley was even hired. That's just been their history since they've been in the league, even in San Diego. I mean, the Chargers have just always found this way to kind of blow big games and waste big talent. I mean, when I look at this Charger defense on paper, I mean, I expect this to be one of the best defenses in the league, right up there with Philadelphia, Cleveland, Baltimore, San Francisco. I expect it to be right up there, but this defense is mid-tier and underwhelming, honestly, with the talent they got and the money they've spent so far.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't see the Packers being able to win this one, but would not be surprised if the Chargers choke.
Yeah, not a doubt. I mean, it's just in their culture to do it at this point.
Exactly. Alrighty, who we got next? We got Raiders Dolphins. This is a fun one. So we have A-Chain coming back. I believe that's confirmed that he will play this game.
Check it again. I think it says he's going to be back Sunday.
Thank God. So yeah, with A-Chain coming back, the Dolphins coming off the bye, and the Raiders scrapping by with Aiden O'Connell against the Jets. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the Raiders. I know they fired McDaniels, so that's good, and they got their 2 wins against the 2 New York teams. But the Dolphins are another level. Now, obviously, the Dolphins against contenders has not been the Dolphins against everyone else. But the Raiders, I don't see as contenders, so I think the Dolphins make the Raiders look stupid.
Well, I know it's funny. I think you might have heard the story of who Antonio Pierce was it that was in that team meeting. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he's the current interim coach again. Correct me, because I
Mhm.
really kept okay. I mean, like I say, I mean, given how the Raiders have played, granted it was against 2 very very poor teams. I mean, I think Antonio Pierce is enforcing that mindset that hey, we believe we can beat anybody, and you don't know with the whole new group of people basically with no Jimmy Garoppolo holding him back. I mean, I think the Raiders might pull one off. You never know.
Fair enough.
I think my game pick. I think I did pick Miami. I don't know.
No, you picked the Raiders for this one.
Oh, I did pick the Raiders. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm predicting it should be my upset then.
Speaking of picking upsets, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, you picked the Giants against the Commanders. So you did what I did for the first time these 2 teams met up, and I picked the Giants. However, they now have Tony DeVito or Tommy DeVito or whatever his name is, and this one is being played in Washington. So I don't see the Commanders losing to the Giants twice. I don't know if I see the Giants getting another win this season. It's just been really bad for the Giants. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. And unless Saquon somehow has the greatest season of his life from this point on, they're screwed.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I think the Giants have kind of been this. I mean, I think last show, I think Ali touched on. I think the Giants this year actually had expectations and can't play up to them. I mean, last year was more so just like if they overachieved, they kind of They played to their own set of standards, and it was good enough to get to the playoffs and win a playoff game. But this year is just kind of they had the expectation, but I don't think they can live up to it this time.
Right.
I mean, I think when you look at the Giants, I mean, I don't think they've made much moves in the offseason. With I don't think they made much offseason moves, much big splashes to kind of getting besides throwing their bank at Daniel Jones, is looking like a big disaster. But
Mhm.
that's about the most I could think of at this point.
Makes sense. Alrighty. Cowboys Panthers. I don't think there's much we have to say about this one.
Nope.
This is going to be the Cowboys putting up 50 on the Panthers and Cowboys fans acting like they're a Super Bowl team because they destroyed the Panthers like they did again when they did that against the Giants. This is the Cowboys cycle. You play a bunch of bad teams, beat a bunch of bad teams, play a really good team and lose, and then you lose some of that hope. And then you beat up on a bunch of the bad teams. And then somehow you drop a game against a bad team, and then you lose to another contender and another contender. And then you convince yourself you're going to the Super Bowl because you end the season beating up a bunch of bad teams. And that's kind of been this season for them once again. So Cowboys fans after this game will be convinced they're going to the Super Bowl, and the rest of the league is going to say, wait until the playoffs.
Well, I mean, when I look at the Cowboys, I mean, it's funny. I mean, Dallas, I think, does have the defense of Super Bowl contender. I mean, they can play. We've seen. I mean, not this year, obviously, but we've seen that the potential that they have. It's just a matter of the offense getting consistent. That's about it. I mean, Dak Prescott, I mean, hasn't really been that top tier quarterback like you would expect Mahomes, Jalen Hurts to be. And I mean, I think it's funny. I mean, people could say Dak Prescott hasn't had much help. I mean, I think since he started in this league, he's had one of the best offensive lines in football. Ezekiel Elliott in his prime, and I think Des Bryant in his prime too, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he's had the help his whole career, and he's got Amari Cooper a couple years. Has had CeeDee Lamb. I mean, Tony Pollard. I mean, it still hasn't gotten it done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what's with the Cowboy offense and how come they haven't really got much together.
I believe Frank Reich is taking over for play calling once again this week. So that could be interesting. But again, the Panthers aren't beating the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, Panthers are just kind of like in their, as you said, they're in their own tier of depressed Panther.
Exactly. Alrighty. Jaguars Titans. Now, this is a division game, and the Jags looked really bad against the 49ers. However, I have no faith in the Titans after how they played last week against the Bucs. I thought it was going to be different once Will Levis came in, and then it looked like more of the same last week. So I think the Jags get their get right game here and beat the Titans.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, then again, I think we touched on a lot last year. Well, Trevor Lawrence hasn't necessarily made that big leap as we all were expecting him to. That leap that made him the generation.
Uh-oh.
Did Shreyas just pass away, or that's just me?
No, I can't hear him.
Yeah, Shreyas passed away. My condolences, everybody.
All right, Ali, we are on Jags Titans. If you look at the pick'em, that's the order we're going in. If there are any games before that that you would like to touch on, feel free.
Let me just pull up the pick'em. You guys got pretty far into this pick'em.
Yeah, I mean, this week should be a lot of obvious picks.
Most of these. I'm assuming you guys went Ravens, Steelers, Lions, Chargers, Dolphins, Commanders, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah, so Ali, basically this week we've kind of all decided, besides a couple of these, that we're all on the same page, and it should be an easy win. We have mentioned for any of the division matchups that they are division matchups, so who knows? And also the Chargers are the Chargers. But other than that, we're like all pretty convinced.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I picked the Vikings, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos are able to pull it off. I think it's really possible for them to get that win. The way that they're peaking right now.
That's a good one. And we haven't gotten there yet, but let's talk about it. So this is another primetime game that I think is going to be good. I think every single primetime game this week is going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the Vikings with Josh Dobbs, who the Browns are starting to looking like they regretted all the quarterback decisions this offseason. Um, Also, fun thing to note, Josh Dobbs, Gardner Minshew, and Nick Foles were all on the same team with Jacksonville. They had the greatest squad of backups of all time.
That's actually baller. Oh my god.
Yeah, with how the Broncos have played recently and this being played in Denver, I could see the Vikings losing this. However, I think they're the better team overall.
I'm not sure if they're the better team. I mean, I think I always kind of valued the Broncos defense recently to be better than the Vikings defense in recent games. I know they allowed 70, but other than that one game, they haven't been that bad defensively. And offensively, they're starting to run the ball more with Javonte Williams getting a lot of touches. His yards per carry isn't particularly good this year, but he's definitely being able to get more touches, being able to get some momentum for the team.
Right.
I don't know. I'm going with the Vikings, but I could easily see the Broncos pulling it off.
This probably comes down to a field goal if I were to guess. All right, Cardinals Texans. And now I know we all picked the Texans here. However, I don't want to diminish Kyler Murray coming back to the Cardinals. He looked very good last week with them. Got that win over the Falcons. And the Texans did lose to the Panthers, so it's something to know that they are not above losing to teams they should beat. That being said, CJ Stroud has been so good, and I don't think the Texans blow another winnable game this season.
Yeah, the Texans are fighting for their lives at this point, fighting for the playoff position. As of right now, they would be in the playoffs, right?
I believe so.
So they have the ball is in their court. It's up to them to go and run the table. So I think the Texans are going to be extra motivated, which should give them that extra edge.
I agree. Alrighty, Buccaneers 49ers. And as much as I want to see Baker Mayfield do well, as much as I'd love to see the 49ers lose again, it's not happening. It can't, right? They cannot lose to the Bucs here.
No, the 49ers look like they finally figured it out, as opposed to the Buccaneers who've been so consistently inconsistent this season. I think the 49ers should win this one. I don't expect it to be particularly close either, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I agree with you.
As much as I love Baker.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but with it being played in San Fran and everything, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jets Bills. And this could be it for everybody in Buffalo. They lose to the Jets twice this season. They lose to Zach Wilson twice this season. In a season where they're supposed to be Super Bowl contenders. With everything else that went horribly wrong this season, that could be it. They have to win this game.
You know, if they lose this game, Stephon Diggs is gonna ask for it to be released that night. He's on the verge already. He's about to ask for his release after that.
Good Lord.
Well, honestly,
could you imagine Diggs goes back to Minnesota and then Justin Jefferson goes to Buffalo?
That would be funny as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I would love that.
At this point, though, Justin Jefferson has a much higher value than Diggs just because he's younger.
Oh, for sure. Who picked the Jets this week? Oh, that was
most
Shreyas.
likely Shreyas.
Right.
Shreyas has been riding the Jets all season long. He thinks that they're a playoff team. He really does. Well,
to be fair, they're in a similar situation to the Steelers where their defense carries them and their offense, you go, what the hell is happening? Now, it's worse of an offense somehow for the Jets, even though Pittsburgh's been outgained in every single game. But I do have more faith in the Steelers than I do the Jets if they were to go head-to-head. But that being said, Bills, you have to win this game.
Mhm.
There are no excuses. You lose this, it's over.
Yeah. No, I think they're gonna get the job done this week. They got some new fresh blood in that OC room. I forget who they promoted, but it was an internal hire, I believe.
Right.
So
We'll see. All right. Seahawks, Rams. And now people tend to sleep on the division games in this division. We saw the Rams have a close game with the 49ers earlier this season. So while I don't think the Rams win, especially not with Carson Wentz, who historically has not been good against the Seahawks, I do think this is probably going to be closer than people expect just because of the division.
is Wentz confirmed starting this week?
I don't know actually. I highly doubt they let Brent Rippon start again.
Yeah.
So let's see. Is Carson Wentz starting? It's unclear.
Unclear. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything about anything. Oh wait, Wentz to back up Stafford. Brett Rippon waived, so I don't know if Stafford's gonna play. I have no idea.
I thought Stafford was gonna miss time.
I did too, so I'm not sure. I mean, if Stafford's out, Wentz plays. So
Yeah.
I don't think the Rams have it though. The Seahawks defense has been too good. Probably the most slept on team right now. Although they did get blown out by the Ravens, and then they looked questionable against the Commanders. So maybe they're slept on for a good reason. But
Seattle is pretty much the Steelers of the NFC, where it's like, they're a little bit worse than what their record is, but they're still considered a playoff team, but they're not going to get past the divisional round would be like good for them,
Right. Alrighty, and then final game for this week. It is the Kelce Bowl, Super Bowl rematch. Eagles at Chiefs. And as much as I love my Eagles, I'm going to stick with them and pick them. It is something to note. The Eagles have not beaten Andy Reid since he's left Philly. And this game is being played in KC, which makes it that much more difficult for the Eagles. I do think that they have a fighting shot, and this is going to come down to the wire. But I can very much see the Chiefs winning this. I mean, you're going to have Travis Kelce be able to light up the middle of the field because the Eagles have been having issues there all season. And I don't know. I just worry a bit about the Eagles going into KC. But if there's any team motivated to beat the Chiefs besides the Broncos right now, it's the Eagles.
I still think the Chiefs get it done. I don't think the Eagles. I mean, it's going to end up becoming like, it's going to finish a one-score game, but the Chiefs should be able to flex this one. It's not like the Eagles are going to finish the season 16-1. They're going to lose, 2, maybe 3 games. And this is just one of those games where I could see them losing.
That's fair. I would not be surprised. I won't be mad if we do, unless it's not close, in which case then I will be mad.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's take a look at our QBs here. I have it posted in the Discord that you can see the tier list with everything, although I don't know if I posted. No, I added DTR since he's starting this week, and he did start against the Ravens, was it, earlier this season?
It was.
So,
they lost 28-3, and he had like 3 interceptions. I remember that.
Yeah, so I think he goes right into bench tier, and it's not even close.
Yeah, he's borderline spring football tier, but he's still a rookie, so maybe they want to develop him.
Right. The Browns looking like they made a huge mistake with letting go of Jacoby and then trading Josh Dobbs. What a mistake. We won't rank Wentz this week, but we should rank Kyler. What did you think of Kyler's return?
I think we could slot him right into that decent or good. I don't know. I don't know if he's done enough to warrant good, It's just one game. His workload hasn't been that large. Decent worst case scenario, but I don't know.
I put him at the top of decent. All right, here's a hot take. Do we switch Herbert? I know they haven't had the winning record, but he has not been the reason recently. Do we put him up in good and take Josh Allen down into decent?
I wouldn't say that's controversial. I think most people honestly would agree with you there.
All right. Would you put Herbert over Dak right now?
Yeah. Well, Dak actually silently has been having an almost MVP caliber season, like statistically. And he has the Cowboys with a winning record, fighting for top of the NFC.
By the way, Trevor Lawrence has to move down into decent.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
has
Trevor
not
Lawrence
been.
has not lived up to it yet.
No. I put him like right under Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Let's think. Anybody else need to move? MVP, I still think it's those three at the top. I think Jalen could get into the argument, especially if they beat the Chiefs. But I think Jalen's always going to have a tough time just because of how good the roster is.
I think he could leapfrog Jared Goff, but that's about it.
That's true. Burrow stays where he is. Stroud leapfrogs Burrow just because he won the head-to-head, so more clutch. Stafford, I don't think it's season-ending, right?
Yeah, it's not season-ending, but at the moment we have to move him back down to RIP and move him back up later, I think.
All right, Stafford down to RIP. And Deshaun Watson does not get RIP. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't deserve it.
Actually, you know what? I do want to rank Wentz. I'm putting him in spring football just because my hope of seeing Nick Foles against Carson Wentz in spring football, I want that to become reality.
Let's do it.
I want that to become reality so bad. Could you imagine championship game, Wentz versus Foles in spring football, and Wentz loses? Oh my god, he would be so pissed. He might go off the grid. You might never hear from Wentz again if that were to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I would disappear. Are you kidding me?
Let's see. Oh, Daniel Jones into Rip.
Yeah,
he's done. Who else?
Who's that guy on the Vikings who's right now on bench? I forget his name.
Jaren Hall.
Yeah. Is he still hurt? Or was he just straight up? Because I know he got hurt. That's why Dobbs came in.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, he can stay on the bench. Also, Dobbs, I think he needs to move up a tier, at least into decent, if not higher.
Where is he now?
Subpar? We have him in subpar because, I mean, he was okay with the Cardinals, but he's looked fantastic with the Vikings.
Yeah, stick him in good. I think he deserves it.
All right, that's right my boy. Dak.
I'm still pissed off the Steelers chose Mason Rudolph over Josh Dobbs to be our backup quarterback.
Actually, I know we have CJ Stroud and good. We have to put him in MVP, don't we? Just because there's all that talk of him being MVP.
I don't think he's MVP. I really don't.
Yeah, but the Texans shouldn't be this good. He's making guys that are no-name guys amazing. He doesn't have the turnovers, and he has the touchdowns.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, to be like MVP, you have to be like, a 1 or 2 seed. You have to be dominating. If you want to move him into, great, I could understand that. But I think it's still a little bit too early for MVP.
I'm just saying he is the most valuable player on any team. Because you take him away from the Texans, and they are in tank bowl right now. He is the most, in that argument, he is the most valuable to his team. You take Lamar away from the Ravens, you still have Huntley. They still make the playoffs. You take Tua away from the Dolphins, Mike White probably can get some wins with that roster. I don't know who the Chiefs have as backup, but still, with that roster, with that defense, you still get wins. You take Stroud away from the Texans and put him, what the hell's his name? long neck dude. Davis Mills,
Yep,
they're
Davis Mills.
bound in the fucking draft lottery again. Or not lottery, just the, they're getting them. They're going to be
tank
fighting for
pool.
number one.
I mean, I understand that, but just 5-4 doesn't warrant MVP. Like the 7 seed in the playoffs doesn't warrant MVP. I don't think we've ever seen an MVP come from a team that seeded that low.
I understand we haven't, but when the team would be 0-9 otherwise, I think it's justified. He's
D'Amico
doing
Ryan
things
is a
as a
great coach.
quarterback
Let's
right
keep playing.
now. Every single quarterback this season we've talked about at some point being not themselves, having more turnovers than expected. The only guy not doing that is Stroud.
Yeah, but
I will settle on great, but Ali, you still good? Did we lose Ali? There he is. Ali?
Okay.
There you are.
Yeah, right. Okay.
You disappeared for some reason. I have
for
no
me,
idea.
it showed that I never left. I don't know what's going on.
No idea.
Same thing happened to Shreyas, I'm assuming.
Well, no, Shreyas disappeared.
At least he's not like our boy Jess Saban. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, serious. Poor Jess. All right, I'm trying to think. Anything else need to change? What did you think of Aiden O'Connell's game against the Jets?
I mean, it was a subpar to bench type of game.
Fair enough.
It wasn't anything, good. It's not like, they won the game because of Aiden O'Connell. They won the game because Zach Wilson is just a little bit worse.
That's fair. Who else? I think that's pretty much everything. Do we have Bajent? Where is he at? He's on the bench. Okay, where he belongs. Yeah. Do you think we need to move up Kenny Pickett?
No, Kenny Pickett is a subpar quarterback. That's what we have him, I'm assuming?
I think you told me to put him in bad.
Oh, yeah, he isn't. So then why is Mitch Trubisky in subpar, but Kenny Pickett in bad? Is it because Mitch has the Pro Bowl?
That might have been the joke.
Right.
All right, I will switch them. Which one's Mitch? He's the second one in, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'll move him down into bench. Actually, no, Trubisky, go to spring football at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, how do you go from Pro Bowler to spring football, man? It's devastating.
Good Lord. But yeah, Kenny Pickett, if we're ranking Kenny Pickett, subpar is fine. If we're ranking fourth quarter Kenny Pickett, we need to add a tier above MVP, which is just greatest of all time.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady can leave that tier. Because
Tom Brady was never in that tier. That's my hot take.
Wait, what was that?
Tom Brady was never greatest of all time. The dude has like 15 cheating scandals. Get the hell out of here.
That's
Tom Brady, greatest of all time, my ass.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that conversation. All right, let's do it. Who is the greatest quarterback of all time, Molly?
Damn. In terms of just sheer talent, it's definitely Aaron Rodgers. He could do things, but in terms of like the accolades and all that stuff, it's a good question. I might have to go with I don't know. There's not many people that's won multiple Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All right, so let's think. We have Marino, Montana, Manning, Drew Brees. He didn't win multiple, but I'm just talking out like guys that you could argue talent-wise are the greatest.
I don't think Drew Brees is in that tier.
Look at the stats. He is the most slept-on quarterback.
Yeah, but also he has had
Anybody.
like a whole bunch of 7 and 9 seasons, with the Saints.
Yeah, but wins aren't a QB stat necessarily.
I guess.
Because then if they are, then you should consider Tom Brady the greatest of all time.
No, but he didn't do it fairly, so I'm not going to consider him the greatest of all time.
Fair. I probably is
Now, do
somewhere
we have to
between Aaron
necessarily choose
Rodgers and
quarterback
Peyton
for greatest of
Manning.
all time?
What was
Yeah.
that?
Do we necessarily have to choose quarterback for greatest of all time?
No. Let's do it. Any NFL player.
I mean, you have to put Reggie White in that conversation. That
True.
dude was insane in his prime. If our good friend Jess Saban was still with us, he would definitely say Lawrence Taylor. But that guy was on crack.
If we're talking about the greatest player based off the time they played in the NFL, right? We're not just going based on how long their career was, just how good they were when they played. Travis Fulgham.
Yeah, he's like 3-game stretch.
Greatest wide receiver of all time right there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That was torture. That was torture era Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, actually it really wasn't, because that was after the Super Bowl. That was torture era was Chip Kelly. So yeah, Fulgham was after the Super Bowl, which is the weirdest thing. That we go from Super Bowl to Fulgham back to the Super Bowl where we lost, but still. Can't. Yeah, Reggie White's a good pick.
My GOAT is actually he's a kicker, Morton Anderson. You might know him. He's also an analyst on ESPN. The dude went 25 NFL seasons without a single Super Bowl. I think you got to be a legend to pull that off.
That is impressive. Oh God, who else? All right,
Obviously,
Steelers,
Gary
greatest
Wright,
of all time. Who's the greatest Steeler of all time, Ollie?
I mean, Terry Bradshaw got 4 rings.
That's
Franco
fair.
Harris got the Immaculate Reception. But I mean, you got to go Mean Joe Green. He really epitomized the steel curtain back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the Eagles, I think the fan base would agree. It's somewhere between Brian Dawkins. When his career is said and done, probably Jalen Hurts will be in there. Mm-hmm. When his career with the Eagles is said and done, A.J. Brown will be in the conversation as well, most likely. Just you have guys on that roster right now that are going to be seen as some
they
of the
follow the same trajectory. Some of these guys, they could just fall off the map at the end.
Oh, for sure.
That guy Bilal once tried telling me that Brian Dawkins was better than Troy Polamalu? Almost kicked his ass over it. The dude was like, "Oh, you gotta admit, most of Troy Polamalu's interceptions came on deflect." Like, no, I ain't gotta admit anything. That's just not correct. What are you talking about?
I haven't. You know what? I was too young to truly analyze both players to make that call.
There was a reason why everyone was like, "Oh, the safety debate: who's better, Polamalu or Ed Reed?" There was no debate between Polamalu or Brian Dawkins. That debate never happened, and it never will happen, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm trying to think. Jason Kelce will go down as the most beloved Eagle all time, right up there with Nick Foles. But best, I mean, you got to talk about Randall Cunningham as well.
Jason Kelce definitely is the GOAT of Christmas carols.
Yes. Good Lord. I don't know. It's hard because I don't want it to be like recency bias, but also some of the best Eagles teams have been recent years. So
I think by default you have to choose someone that was on that Super Bowl team.
If you had to pick somebody on that Super Bowl team, who's the greatest member of that team? It's probably Jason Kelce then, because
Fletcher Cox.
Fletch could be up there. Lane Johnson, one of those three, I'd argue.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to pick from that team,
Brandon Graham had the most impactful play in Eagles history when he had that strip sack.
Yep. And Barnett picked it up, the guy that no Eagles fan likes anymore, which is quite funny. One of the most slept on Eagles right now is their kicker, which I get why he slept on. But Jake Elliott is one of the best kickers in the league, and he was there for that Super Bowl run. I love Jake Elliott. Is the first kicker that I actually enjoy since Akers. Akers was awesome.
Yeah.
You've seen the Akers speech, right, for the Dallas Goedert draft pick?
I don't think so. No, I haven't.
They had the draft in Dallas, and Akers goes off on the Cowboys. It is the funniest thing.
Seems like something he would do.
I'll send you it after this.
Okay.
I think that's everything though for this week. We previewed the games, talked about our quarterbacks, and yeah, covered everything. So anything else, Ollie, you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, just that Bilal is a bitch for dodging Shreyas
That's fair.
and not coming onto the podcast to talk about the Ravens.
Fair. That being said, I kind of hate that his hot take about the Ravens was proven right immediately.
Right?
He's
Man
like,
said-
I don't trust them. It's like, it's not about not trusting them later in the season. Literally the same week, they blow it against the Browns.
Yeah. For those we need to catch up on, the dude said that the Ravens were not a top 10 team in his power rankings, and this was right after their huge win, and then became 7-2. Who'd they blow out?
Seahawks.
Seattle. Yeah, it was right after their blowout win over Seattle. And he said Ravens are still not a top 10 team. We all lost our minds on him. And
Wait,
then the
let's
Ravens
read out his
proceeded
top
to fall
10.
apart in the fourth quarter for all the reasons that he listed against the Browns.
His top 10 that week were the Eagles, 49ers, Chiefs, Cowboys, Jaguars, Dolphins, Lions, Bengals, Steelers. To be fair, after the Ravens blew it to the Browns, his ranking has the Ravens in it. So take with that what you will.
Right, so I guess apparently losing to Deshaun Watson makes you get better in the power rankings.
Also, speaking of power rankings, Shreyas gave us the top 9 this week. So that's pretty
You
funny.
forgot this 10th team?
Yep, he forgot a 10th team. So he just
Gotta
has a
love it.
top 9.
Gotta love them.
Fantastic. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We have been Pigskin Banter, and we will be back on Tuesday to review week 11.